Hello Internet, Dave here, and to help celebrate the release of Total War Warhammer II, I will be building a Lizardmen battalion, which includes some Temple Guard, some Saurus warriors, some Skinks, and of course, some Cold War Knights. I will be building this over several episodes. I will begin with the Skinks, then the Saurus warriors, then the Cold Ones, and then finally the Temple Guard. I will spray them in their trays, assemble parts of them, paint them, and then final them together, so each video will be broken up but linked together. I hope that you'll enjoy this one. So inside the box we have all the bits. All the bits. These are part of the Saurus warriors, which we'll come back to later. More Saurus warriors bits. More Saurus warriors. Here are the Skinks, which we're going to be working on first. Put them to the side for a minute. Here we have the Saurus warriors, which are on top of the Cold Ones, so part of the Cold War Knights. The Temple Guard. More of the Temple Guard. Of course, the Cold Ones themselves. The reason I am emptying the box is because I'm going to use it as a base for my spraying. As it is not a very nice day, I can't go outside, I have devised a way of spraying. In the box we have a piece of paper like this, and then, like I did with the Battalion, put in a tray. I am using for the base spray Caliban Green. So we're going to speed up this next part of the spraying. And as I said, the reason why I do spray them before building them is to help with the painting, as I found when I try to paint fully assembled models that I really struggle to get all the fine detail in. I'm showing you the spraying of both trays, so you can see that I am spraying them. So as you can see, I have sprayed the Skinks, finished spraying them the colours I want. I've also sprayed where they have their hands on any of their weapons to make it easier for me to do the painting later. So without any further ado, it is time to build myself some Skinks. Skinks are quick and stand out from the rest of the sluggish Lizardmen. They are the mass workforce designed by the Old Ones to perform many different roles, and without them, Lizardmen society would quickly collapse. Skinks are highly organised and sociable beings that instinctively work well in groups, even being able to coerce other cold-blooded creatures into doing their bidding. Both physically and mental agile, Skinks are perfectly adapted to ensure the smooth day-to-day running of the temple cities, as well as operating the far-reaching patrols that sweep across the vast jungle continent. Of all the Lizardmen, the Skinks are the most communicative, using their changeable skin tones and crest colours to add supple indifferences to their vocal language, in which they chitter endlessly in high-pitched voices full of clicks, hisses, and other curious sounds. Skinks take up weapons during their many patrols, as well as to join the fight during times of war. As troops, they range between reckless and panicky. Their skittish nature makes them much more prone to fleeing than the Saurus warriors. They are typically used in two different formations. Most commonly, the Skinks advance before the bulk of the main army, harassing the foe advance with hails of darts. When massed together, In a fighting cohort, the Skinks can bolster out a Lizardmen battle line. This fighting formation becomes considerably more effective when led by a skink brave or skink chief. When augmented with a number of Croxagores, however, the volley of javelins and darts that skinks can unleash are astoundingly dangerous. They have learned to coat their weapons with lethal toxins distilled from the venomous apparitions, insects and serpents that thrive in the steamy jungles and profuse swamps of Lustria. Employing their natural affinity of water, skinks look for opportunities to attack the foes from unexpected quarters. Many an enemy has been outflanked by skinks who navigated what they thought to be an impossible swamp or river. Now, because of the skink description, that is why I have sprayed them with Caliban green. As you see, I have done. So there they are with the blowpipes attached. I am now going to paint the blowpipes and then I will attach the other arms. I'm also going to paint their backs and their crests. The reason why I have sprayed them Caliban green is because of the whole idea of them being skirmishers, hiding in the leaves and in the trees, shooting their enemies from above with the blowpipes, which I am painting a brown colour. This is the base brown colour known as torched brown. This is one of the cathedral paints, one of the base paints. For any sort of metal that there is, I am using the cathedral base paint lead belcher, and for the highlighted colour areas that I want to do for the skinks on the back and for the crest, I am using the cathedral layer paint moot green. For the eyes, I have decided, instead of going with a red colour as is most traditional in Lizardmen armies, I have gone with the cathedral layer paint Hafot blue, which will make their eyes stand out a bit against their green background. Now, obviously, I've not built all the skinks on the video, and I'm not going to paint all of them on it as well. This is to, one, give you a base idea of how long it takes to build a skink army, or just individual skinks. And here I am with the blue, as I said, making sure I get off any excess and then painting the eyes rather carefully. It does take a little while to do the detail bits, as I try not to go over each side, and I'll show you what I mean by standing out of the eyes, that you can see them quite well against the green background, but they're still quite dark. When I get round to building my Saurus warriors, which should be started later today or tomorrow, they will have a lighter colour, as they're not so much a hiding force but more of a striking force, mainly because I want to experiment with different colorizations and patterns, as well as some of the more traditional colorings that you would see in a Lizardman army. My whole thought of most of my colors is that they are in a jungle. If they're predators, that they stand out a bit more to make things more aware of them, to not eat themselves, and that if you're a more prey-like item like the skinks, that you have a darker colorization to hide in the treetops of the Lustrian jungle. Now, I think I may have touched on it a little earlier in my Bastardon build, about the Lustrian jungle, about the whole everything eats everything kind of thing, but I want to go into a bit more of that. Now, there are many tales of it. Now you can see the milled green on the back of the skinks. This is so that they look light from the top and dark from the bottom. So if you're looking up at them, you can't see they're underneath, and if you're looking down at them, the milled green just breaks up the patterns like its leaves shining. And of course, they're crests for communication purposes. To an outsider, the catastrophic jungles of Lustria are much the same, but to its native creatures, nothing could be further from the truth. The dense fern tree valleys, the titanic skywoods, and the moss-coloured flood zones each offer their own deadly perils. To creatures that have lived their lives braving such dangers, it becomes instinctive to identify the hundreds of different environments, anticipating the types of plants and creatures that might lie in ambush. In the jungle, you are always being stalked. Knowing by what can mean the difference between life and death. To intruders, it is an alien landscape, a singular green hell where anything or everything is trying to make a meal out of them. That sentence, that paragraph alone from the official Lizardmen book, gave me the inspiration for my skink colouring. For the idea that if you are small, you want to hide, and if you are big and dangerous, you want to make sure that the other beings know that you are big and dangerous and not to mess with you. Which is why my Bastillodon is very different colours to these guys. The Lustrian jungle, as I said, is based to the south west of the fantasy world, rather like our South America. In fact, if you look at a map of the fantasy world of Warhammer, it actually does look quite a bit like South America. Massive jungle region, not much deserts, a few long mounting around its back bit, and it's full of old Lizardmen sites, temples, and other such bits and pieces. There's a great amount of plant life, obviously, and it's carnivorous. Grasping creeper vines, blood-hungry spore clouds, and impaling spikadons all seek the unwary in the Lustrian jungle. That even the omnipotent danger of the leafer flora is pale in comparison to many of the creatures that make the jungle their hunting ground. Every hanging vine might home to a fist-sized string of insects, and piles of scale-mounted reptilians rate in concealment, ready to pounce upon passing by. Great hunters, cats, cannibalistic monkey king, and the buzzy swarm of the enormous insect life make the jungle a constant battleground. Whereas survival is an hourly struggle, yet most dangerous of all the beasts that hunt beneath the canopies are the giant reptiles. These beasts have long since been extinct from the rest of the world, but in Lustria they rule supreme. So that bit is obviously for the more dinosauric creatures of the Lizardmen army, that being the Croxagors, the Carnosaurs, the Bastillodon, and the Triceratopsy one, which I cannot remember the name of. You've also got the Pterodons and the Reptilians, which are aerial predators, Ah yes, stegodons, which are the Triceratops ones. Not to mention the lizardmen themselves. You've also got troglodons, which are really strange dinosaur-like creatures. You've got salamanders, you've got razorgons. As I said, you've got the bastodons, you've got carnosaurs. You've got skinks in there, of course, always causing fun and terror to any unwelcome visitors. The saurus warriors, the temple guard, which are said to be like statues sometimes, waiting in ambush. Chameleon skinks, which are like the skinks, but literally can change their colour on the fly to hide themselves in the canopy. The Slan mage priests, all such fun stuff. It is said that when war boss Grak Bista of the Redshanks tribe, Greenskins, was once visited by a vision from Gork, or possibly Mork, that inspired him to lead a horde of more than 50,000 sun-crazed savage orcs in a march through the jungle to claim the ruins of the temple city of Iza Silika. I probably completely butchered that name. On the way, they were regularly waylaid, led into the pathways of hunting monsters, and picked off mercilessly by poison darts. It took only 7 skinks to ensure that not a single greenskin from that formidable horde survived. Such is the dangers of Lustria. You see I'm coming to the end of the build. Now I'm putting on their little hand weapons. These are dull metallic blades used to defend themselves if anything comes a bit too close to the skinks and they hadn't managed to shoot it with their poison darts, or if they just feel like getting in close and slitting the throats of their enemies, or just chopping up bits of meat for them to eat as lunch. Of course, skinks, like most of the Lizardmen army, are carnivorous, so they will eat meat, but they will also eat leaves and vegetables. Well, if there is such a thing as a friendly vegetable in Lustria, because as I told you with the description of the Lustrian jungle, it is a place where even the flora can be dangerous and want to eat you. Now much has changed from the Skinks and the Lizardmen army in general since they went to the Age of Sigmar. Most things now have a basic movement, a to hit, to wound, and a save throw, instead of the old movement, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, wounds, initiative, leadership, and armor, making it a bit more simple, but still quite fun to play. If you haven't played Fantasy for a while and you want to have a good game, I recommend giving Age of Sigmar a go. Nowhere near, as I said, as complicated as the old Warhammer fantasy bits and pieces. I do not mind the improvements that they made to the fantasy realm. I just wish they kept some of the races, but they had to do something to save it. Anyway, that's the build. Let me show you what these guys look like fully painted and finished. And here we have the skink skirmishers ready to inflict poison darts onto their foes, sneaking through the Lustrian jungles, ready and willing to defend their home against the forces of chaos and whoever is silly enough to invade. There will be more builds coming soon, as I said, to celebrate the release of Total Warhammer 2. The skinks are probably going to be my least painted figures, as I said earlier, because of the whole idea of them hiding in the trees, among the leaves, raining death from above. Hope that you enjoyed. Don't forget to comment, rate and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Dave. Knowledge is power. And the Lizardmen use it wisely.